Hello, hello. We have a special guest today.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So fun to have three of us on this couch.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. We have Kim Couillard from Tune for Health, Biofield Tuning at Achilles Holistic Wellness and Tune for Health.
Yes, lovely to be here.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. Biofield tuning. Well, we'll get into that. We'll do our unfiltered moments first. But I'm imagining people are already wondering, what is biofield
We
tuning?
got you hooked.
Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
Biofield Tuning?
All right, stay tuned. We'll do some unfiltered moments. So I'll start. I have this new little routine. Can I call it a routine? I've done it 2 days in a row. So that's almost a pattern. Tomorrow
Yeah.
it'll be a pattern. I had a more naturally minded health practitioner recommend this for some increased energy for me, mental clarity, and just feeling my best self. It's going to sound really wackadoo to some of you. I bet you two will get it, though. I hope some of you will get it.
You're in the right place.
Okay. So, y'all, I've been sitting outside like 10 minutes prior to the sunrise with my coffee and my protein powder in it. So it's not just straight coffee, right? You can do collagen.
This
you can do
already
protein
sounds
powder.
amazing.
Right? I just bundle up in my big parka and scan the horizon with my eyes.
Wow.
Back and forth as I'm drinking my warm beverage as the sun comes up, because it creates a whole bunch of safety in your body and it activates the parasympathetic nervous system. Most of our photoreceptors are in our eyes. Makes a lot of sense. Do you know where the second place is where we have the most photoreceptors in our body?
Where?
Our ovaries.
What?
So she said to me, I don't know why we don't all walk around with our pants down because, well, we used to, I guess. We could get more energy through our ovaries.
That's wild.
So,
Cool.
yeah, she's recommending I do this as a little morning ritual, 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever. And it's been just a lovely, almost kind of meditative moment. And it's really important that you are looking straight forward, scanning the horizon with your
Wow.
eyes.
That's like bilateral stimulation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it creates safety in the body.
I
So
think it's also
fun.
the red
Oh.
light. I think it's also the red light therapy.
Yeah.
It's getting that red light and something to do with your, is it your pituitary gland? Or the,
I don't doubt it. Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. Pituitary gland.
Yes.
And I think it's about decalcifying that, getting that red light in. And it's good for your eyes too.
I knew
Just
I
the
was
health
in the
of your
right
eyes.
spot. Thank you, Kim.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the other thing she had me do. And my husband is like, oh my gosh, how are you going to do this? She turned my total phone red. So instead of taking in that blue light, because that keeps you activated, that keeps you stressed, it's like a big dopamine hit. If you want to stay off of your phone more, which I have been the last 2 days, turn it red.
How do you turn it red?
You go in your settings and you write color filter, and then there's a hue, a brightness, and then a color adjustment. So I changed it for today, but it's otherwise totally red.
It's so weird that you brought that up now, because I've recently bought a computer, a tablet that has got very low blue light. And the whole idea is turning off that dopamine receptors. Well, it's so that it isn't activated so much, so that basically you don't always, what is it when it's becomes a little, you get so much of it that you need more and more. And I've recently started using that. So instead of using a Kindle, which has so much blue light and so much flickering, this device is great to read on. You can write on it. You can go online.
Brilliant.
But it doesn't pull you in because there isn't all these color photographs. It's just this amber light.
Okay. So you get it.
It's incredible.
thing.
That's
What's it
come up
called?
now.
Isn't that funny?
It is called a daylight computer.
Okay. We are not sponsored by
and
Daylight.
No, and it's really good. They have a kids one that's just come out too. So no sponsorship.
Smart.
Just
Look it
important
up.
stuff to look at.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I think we can all switch our settings, even without these devices. Like you can switch the
You
colors.
can. It's
Yours is better, I'm
I
sure,
think
but-
it's a great thing to do and to make us aware of it.
Yeah.
And then you can get light bulbs that you change out and all kinds of things.
So what are you going to talk about now? Are you going to tie it all in, Camila, or is this totally different?
Tie in. That's
Does it
so
really?
funny.
That is- that's
my
weird.
unfiltered moment. Yeah, because I mean, this is this is not therapy podcast. I guess it's like this unfiltered moment is becoming into such a wellness thing because over the past few weeks, I've completely cut out dairy out of my life. And that's been a really big game changer.
How are you feeling differently?
Oh my gosh. So this is,
TMI.
Personal.
Yeah. We're here for it.
Way less gassy, guys.
Yeah. That's a thing.
And for that reason, less bloated.
Sure.
Yeah. And just my gut and my stomach is feeling a lot better.
Have you found it difficult to do, or is it kind of some easy switches?
Yeah. At first I was a little bit hesitant. And I was in denial about being lactose intolerant for 12 years. So this took some time. That's my unfiltered moment. But it was finally time. I think as I started getting older, it got worse. And it's just some easy switches. I think in today's world, we have a lot of alternatives. So just trying those out, and aged cheeses, I guess.
Nice.
Feeling good.
Good for you. Awesome. Okay, Kim, you're up. Unfiltered moment.
So for me, it was about this morning opening up an attachment in an email, which I would never normally do because I was distracted. And then at that moment in time, feeling that stress, and I suppose this does come down to wellness again as well, feeling that incredible stress, knowing that I was going to be late to join you two, and then making that decision in my mind, what was the most important thing, and dealing with it, and then feeling a lot calmer, doing what was within my control.
Yes.
What I could do at that time, knowing that I would just have to be late.
Yeah.
But it was also a great reminder, again, back to wellness. I don't want these alerts coming through that an email has come so that I'm distracted, so that I'm open myself up to this kind of crap. I want to actually be more mindful about it. And this is a great reminder because honestly, most of the time things can wait. If somebody needs to get hold of me, they'll phone me, they'll text me. And I think with devices right now, this is just a reminder for me to just put them away.
I love that.
Have a set time during the day to actually deal with things.
Yes. Good for you.
And if you left in that state, then you come in here, you in that fight or flight, you're worrying about it in the back of your mind. You can't be fully present. So it's just a reminder that, you texted us and it actually worked out well for us because we were running a little bit late and it all worked out. It was great.
And to be honest, when I reflect on it, I dealt with it a whole lot better than I ever would have. And I think that's from paying attention to that feeling of stress and learning ways to deal with it.
Wonderful.
And then realizing, okay, what is in my control and what isn't. And then whatever happens, happens. None of it really matters.
What do you think you would have used to do?
I would have rushed out the door because the idea of letting you down would be worse than getting
That's such a good noticing.
We all have that part in us. Absolutely. Well, good for you for overriding that. Like pausing enough to like, okay, nope, I need to take care of me here.
Well, I think it segues perfectly into biofield tuning because biofield tuning is such a beautiful way of helping people deal with stress.
Yeah, it is. So biofield tuning is a form of sound therapy using tuning forks, and we use tuning forks on body and in the field around the body. And one of the main things it does is it activates our parasympathetic nervous system. It turns on the part of the nervous system that helps with rest and digestion. And I think that a lot of us are feeling continually triggered by certain things that are happening around us, and using something like biofield tuning with that sound, with the way that it works, helps us to also get into that state and then recognize it when we're in it. Because I think that we are so used to feeling stressed and fight or flight and that kind of thing that we've stopped even realizing what it feels like not to feel like that.
Wow.
So
I think you're right.
Yeah. And this is one of the modalities. There's many of different modalities, but this is one that's really works extremely well.
Amazing. How did you hear about this? How did you get into biofield tuning?
For me, it was at a period of time when we all know that the world went a little crazy for a period, and I was looking at different modalities that made sense to me. I've been, for my whole life, I've looked into different kinds of things, from supplements to homeopathy to all kinds of stuff, and wanted to be more involved in this kind of field. And looking through sound particularly, there's just a lot about sound, about how it can affect your whole system, as in the idea of if we take care of our field, our body in turn will be in a better place. It's also down to the idea of homeopathy as well. When we take care of our emotions around an illness or around something like that, and we come into a more balanced state, the physical continues as well.
Sure.
And I wanted to learn more about sound. And originally I was looking at crystal bowls, and then it purely came down to practicality. I was like, how do I lug those things around? How do I... And whole nature.
Years later, she got crystal bowls.
And then I got those anyway, because that was, So I was looking at sound. I was looking at tuning forks. I think these things come along almost when you're ready.
Sure.
And I saw tuning forks, and I looked on Amazon, and I saw a couple of books, and I picked the one that resonated with me, and it was to do with Biofield Tuning, and it was Eileen McCusick's book.
Okay.
And when I started reading it, and this to me is always a really good sign, it felt like I was remembering, not like I was hearing it for the first time.
What does that tell
that
you?
gives
What
me
meaning do you
goosebumps.
make out of that? Same.
I think it's I think there's lots of ways you can look at it. Either that you have done it before in some kind of form, or that you're just plugged in and resonating with that whole field. So maybe you're plugging into that morphic field of all other biofield tuners, and you're going, oh, wow, this feels right for me. And with sound, I've had it. Sound to me transports me to another place. So I've had therapies done on me where I will be laying there listening to these sounds, and I'm taken to somewhere that feels like home, where healing can take place. And if I can feel that way, that's what I'd like to create for other people.
Absolutely.
And to allow that transformation for them.
Absolutely.
So what does the session look like? Can you tell our listeners a little bit about what to expect? What does it look like? What happens? Do you stand? Do you lay? What happens?
So you would come to a session. It's done fully clothed. You would be really comfortable. It's best to come to a session being hydrated, because electricity is conducted through water. So to be more hydrated is better for you. You come in, you lay down on the table. A session is conducted where the person can speak as much or as little as they like. It's great to have that feedback as the session is going on, purely because this is a co-creative process. You don't just lay there. It's part of you. Your whole system is the one that's doing the balancing. I am merely holding the space, listening to the forks, and paying attention to what's going on. I'm bearing witness to what's happening. So you come in fully clothed, lay down, the session will start. And as I said, I use forks on the body and in the field, weighted forks on the body, weighted or unweighted in the field. It starts.
What does that mean, weighted forks?
They have little boots on them. I've got them with me if you would like to see them. And weighted also, they have these little weights on the end of the tines. So that when you strike the fork and you get it vibrating and activated, the two little weights on the end vibrate, and you would feel a vibration in your body as it's placed on. When you're using them in the field and they're unweighted, it's the sound.
Okay.
I love the feeling of the weighted forks on my body.
It feels amazing.
I just had another session yesterday. I feel so good. And I feel like we should have a biofield tuning session before a podcast recording, Carrie.
Not a bad idea.
But that weighted fork on my chest, because my chest is where my heart is where I feel a lot of that heaviness and pressure really often. And so that on my heart space is just so regulating. Like even just that, it can feel so soothing and grounding.
Yes. Speaking of heart space, Kim, I'm reflecting back about a year ago.
Yes.
You did a couples session for my husband and I. You were doing a Valentine's.
That's correct.
Kind of offering.
And it was focused, it was focused more on just helping that connection between you and your husband and opening up your heart.
Yes. It was so beautiful. And just to have that hour, however long it was, dedicated just to the two of us and our relationship, without us having to really do anything and just receive. It was such a gift.
That was a very supportive session. And with couples as well, what can be done is that you could have a couple where it becomes more about looking into the patterning between the two people. So where what I did for you was more of an opening of the heart, helping out the communication between the two of you, and very gentle. There are also therapies that can be done, or biofield tuning therapies with the couples, where it's more looking into patterning and some conflict can come up.
Okay.
And then again, I'm not a therapist.
Sure.
So I just bear witness.
Yeah.
It unfolds during the session.
Yep.
I can be a mediator in the sense of just making, when there's somebody else around, we tend to be a little kinder to each other anyway. And I think it's a really good way of bringing some things to light that can often be, they're there, but we can't see them.
Like very subtle.
They are subtle. It comes out. Sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it's just bringing things to light that we already know is there and giving an opportunity to talk about it. But it's changing it on an energetic level so that they can open up that communication between two people.
Okay.
And the couple would both obviously need to be open to this kind of thing.
Well, that's why I love that referral between us, right? Because you could refer a couple to Biofield Tuning.
Absolutely.
And this community that we have here, that if something does come up for a couple, Kim can refer them to Carrie, or if something comes up for an individual, you can refer them to me. And I've referred many clients to Biofield Tuning where they're just really on edge, that adrenaline, their nervous system is often like, a reset would be so good.
And a combination is great because it could be in a session where things come up that are brought to light that are unconscious patterning that then they need to speak to somebody about. Like sometimes things are discovered, memories come up that we've either forgotten about or completely suppressed. And then the benefit is that then Camilla or Carrie can then help with that processing, that needing to talk it out.
But it might not have come up unless you connected the body. So like you are the kind of initiation or like a spark. Like you can help make that. Yeah. So I'm curious, Kim, when you talk about like, let's think about this couple and it's opening something up in them that needs to be addressed. Is this with chakras? Like, is that how we would explain this, or kind of different?
Yes, in the sense that when I do a biofield tuning, and it's the same with a couple, is I would figure out the best angle of approach.
Okay.
It would be at a chakra.
Okay.
Then, according to the Biofield Tuning Anatomy Map, that can help, which Eileen she's been doing it for nearly 30 years. And she discovered that when she was working on people's bodies, that there was always this patterning around certain areas and off. So we have the right and the left of the chakra as well, which has different meanings. And off the right hip, where it was always, if there was a lot of stuck energy there, that can be overdoing. And that's usually overdoing to compensate for feeling too much, which would come up on the left side of the heart.
Oh, wow.
So there's a map that's been drawn up, which is very helpful. Again, it's what resonates with people, remembering that we're holistic. Wherever we come in, it's working the whole body. But the same thing with couples. I would say come in at a certain area, a certain chakra. There'd be this patterning that could be in that area.
Okay.
And then it's important, as I'm doing it now, if we have a couples facing each other, if I'm coming off the right of one member of the relationship, it's going to be off the left of the other. So it's the opposite. So it has different meanings.
Sure.
So coming in, using that patterning as a guide, it's a way to just bring up certain things. Like if it's off the throat, speaking and not being heard, on one side. And then that's what we'd work on. But then the other person is opposite, maybe, not listening to that person so that you have that kind of correlation between the two. Yeah.
I just have to say, too, there is something about your energy, Kim, that is just so grounding and so much safety. I had never met you before that day. And when we came in here, it was a snowy day outside. It was cozy as can be in this office. And you just greeted us so warmly. And I honestly feel like you are one of those people where it's like, gosh, I feel like I've known her for years.
Yeah,
like I could say anything to you.
Seriously,
Yeah.
I felt that same way when I met Kim. And she creates such a beautiful atmosphere too. So it's not like you just come in for your Biofield Tuning appointment. She will greet you warmly. She will greet you with a tea. And then before your tuning, she will have you pick a crystal that resonates. So you can talk a little bit more about that. But it's a whole experience. And then leaving enough time at the end to really check in, to really tend to the person. It's an incredible experience. Yeah. That's why I want the world to know about Kim.
You know, for me, I think it's about how would I like to be treated? And really, I don't want to be rushed when I go and have a treatment somewhere. I really want to take my time. And I've had it where I've had a treatment and I feel ungrounded or I'm feeling a little, and I just want people to be able to do what they need to do. I don't want to rush between clients, and it's important for me as well. I want to feel that space so that I can also recalibrate for the next person. Yeah. And that is very important for me. With the whole crystal, I love the idea with crystals having certain information. I always put it in a bottle that's separated. There's a little separate container at the bottom that I put the crystal into, and then I have water in the top. And water holds information. And these crystals, I get the person to pick the crystal because I think that we're attracted to what we need most. Then there's a meaning behind it. I think also knowing that meaning helps us to create meaning over this whole kind of ritual that I'm doing.
Sure.
And then I keep the bottle in the room as the session goes on. And then at the end, they drink it because also it's important to drink water to remain hydrated. But that drinking of the water, you then take that information in and it reaches every single cell of your body.
That's so infused beautiful. With that intention, with what you need the most.
Intention. Yeah. That is the word that keeps coming up here. It's such an intentional experience you've created for people.
So Kim is going to bring out her tuning forks.
I think when you hear Biofield tuning with a tuning fork, I just think of like dinner forks.
Yeah.
Like, what's a tuning fork?
But if you are watching in our visual medium, so you can look on our podcast and our video or on YouTube, we'll also post some pictures on our Instagram of Kim with her tuning forks.
So this is a weighted fork. It's got the little boot at the end, and I will just demonstrate that with Camilla, how much she likes it when I put the weighted fork on her.
Can you hear it?
And then Camilla can feel that vibration.
That feels really good. It's that vibration moving through my chest and through my body.
And it comes from the boot of the fork. That's where
do
the
you
vibration
want to feel it?
is. I do. Can I try too? Can I play? Yeah.
It's a really, there you go. It's a really good way to regulate yourself, even if you were to get your own fork, because let's face it, we can't always all go somewhere all the time. It would cost us a fortune.
Right.
So, and this is why I like it as well, is that you can get your own. You can get a sonic slider or something like that, and you can just use it as part of your self-care.
Beautiful.
Like you go into the morning sun and you spend that time and you drink your coffee with the collagen or whatever. Imagine you breathe.
That would feel so good. Yes.
Do that in between your sessions with Kim. Yeah. I was thinking during my session yesterday, I was like, I want to schedule a reoccurring once a month, because a once a month reset, it's like a tune-up.
It is.
Right.
It is. And initially, if you've never been before, it's great to do 3 sessions. It helps to just, when you have one, it's like going and doing, it's like working out once. You're not going to build your muscles.
Right.
It's like going to a chiropractor once. You get realigned, but then it goes back. You have bad habits. It's very similar. And then the best thing after that to do is just to check in with yourself. What do I need right now? Do I need another session, or am I still processing? But the initial 3. Yeah.
I have to highlight that. I think so often we're asking, what does everybody else around me need? I could use to ask myself that more often. What do I need?
It's also taking that power back, because also instead of asking somebody else, what do you think I need?
Yes.
And it's really, we are our own authority.
Yeah. That's a great reminder.
How would someone know if they do need biofield tuning or they could benefit from it, or if their body is, what would they be feeling in their body? What would they be experiencing if it's someone that could benefit?
One of the ways that and the kind of thing I like dealing with is that anxiety, that feeling of being stressed out, because it's very calming. People can use or can have used biofield tuning for a multitude of things. They can feel certain emotions that they can't quite process and all that kind of thing. But for me, the most important is when I'm feeling that anxiety, when I'm feeling the pressure, when I'm feeling stress. Sometimes we don't recognize stress, but that to me would be the time that I would seek it out. And that's the kind of thing that nervous system regulation, the feeling stress, the anxiety, even that little bit of depression, biofield tuning works amazingly with that kind of stuff.
Is that your favorite client or population to work with?
Yes,
like,
that
where
tends to be where I fall into. Yeah. Yeah.
Are you seeing more men, women? Like, who is called to do this most often, would you say?
I would say at the moment, I'm seeing more women than men.
Okay.
I do have friends who are biofield tuners who find that they do get a lot of men who come in who they just go to what works. So they don't overthink it. They go in, they receive this biofield tuning, and all they know is that when they leave, they feel better.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Without having to get too in your head about it.
And and I think also biofield tuning, because it's based in physics, there's entrainment, people can look at it as something less woo.
Sure.
And even the term biofield as opposed to aura.
Right.
And I think that that is a great leveler. It also is a connection. People will be maybe with other things that think, oh, I don't know if I'm going to do that because that just sounds a little woo-woo and it's not for me. Whereas I think biofield tuner is a great bridge. I think it works for people who see things in both different ways.
Yeah, I love that.
What would you say to someone that feels like, oh, this is just woo, or this is magic, or
how can that work?
Yeah.
What is it really doing?
I think for me, one of the explanations is that we are electric beings. We have an electric heart. If it stops, we jumpstart it using electricity. All our entire body is electric, and anything that's electric has a magnetic field that surrounds it. We call that the biofield. So what I'm doing is I'm working in this biofield, and then really it's your system that's doing the work. So we're an electric being. We have a biofield. The biofield is the blueprint for the physical body. We want to make sure that there's no noise in the biofield. When there's noise, that's where we have the dissonance. If we can clear up the noise, bring back the harmony, then the physical body will follow. So it's your body doing it. It's your field doing the work. I am merely listening and allowing that feedback and entrainment by striking a fork so that the body can hear itself and bring itself back into harmony.
Yeah.
How empowering.
Yeah.
Like, that just says, like, I have within me the capacity to heal.
And you absolutely do.
Yeah, I love that. It's like you're not doing this to me. You are opening something up for me to find healing.
And, and I think that it feels good to me. It's just like the thing that came to my mind. I remember once somebody saying to me, oh, your daughter is amazing. You've done a good, it's because of you. And I was like, oh, hell no, that's not because of me. It's because she's a great person.
It's because of her.
Because if she does bad, then it's my fault.
Right. Yeah.
So if she does good,
right.
It's also can't be, it's
right. Right.
And I feel that way with biofield tuning. It's a person's system that is responding. It's their system that is doing the healing and bringing the balance back.
Yeah.
I'm creating that space. I'm listening.
Yeah. And I think, with parenting and with this, I think it's a little bit of both because you also provide that co-regulation.
That's right.
You provide safety. You allow their nervous system to relax. People feel held. So it's a beautiful balance of both.
I suppose you're right. And there is a responsibility in that.
Yep.
And the responsibility as well to take care of yourself.
Yes.
So that you can create that space.
Right. Right. And what a beautiful example. You just showed us that this morning, that I need to attend to my own needs before coming and putting energy into something else. Yeah, that's a great role model for all of us.
So how can people find you, Kim?
You can find me at Eloise, or you can find me at tuneforhealth.com. And that's probably the best ways, or I'm on Instagram.
Yeah. And Kim does in-person sessions and also virtual sessions, right? So you can even work with people that are not in Minnesota. So tell us a little bit more about the virtual piece, because that's really cool.
There's been a study that Biofield Tuning did with, I think it was CHI, Conscious Healing
Institute.
I think that is. And they did a study where it was a peer-reviewed study with people who had received sessions remotely, and they had depression, and how well it worked. And the link is actually on my Instagram to the study, because I don't want to butcher what came up. If you want to find that, so it does work remotely. Personally, I've received remotely. I've also even done sessions for people out of the country.
Wow. In Zimbabwe.
Wow. And in fact, they've had, it's been remarkable. I've never met them in person. And I know it's different for every person, but sometimes and I think it's to do with feeling comfortable in your own space. And receiving that way, sometimes it can be even more powerful, because, when you're with somebody for the first time, you're laying on some massage table. It can be vulnerable. But when you're in your own home and you're receiving it, and you're actually almost having to pay more attention, what's going on, not worrying about how am I looking, is my belly coming out of my shirt, or, whatever it is. When you're at home in your own space, you open yourself up, you feel safer, you feel more, just like you can allow yourself to experience it properly.
So can people then hear it over
they can,
their phone or computer?
And it's interesting, because really we're dealing with the field, with ether, and it's this, distance doesn't mean anything. It's energy. So I'm working on somebody's energy. And yes, it's important that it's great that we're on a phone, because we have that connection. But I've done it where we haven't even had any form of communication, and I've received and I've given that way. So it's important for the practitioner to hear the forks, because it provides us with feedback. We hear a change of the tone of the fork. We can feel the change of the vibration in our hand. When we're striking the fork, we can feel into an area that's stuck. And then when we're in that area, we keep striking until the fork comes off clear. Now, the person receiving, it's interesting to hear that, but they don't have to hear it, because we're the ones listening in and doing it. They will feel that shift.
And you were mentioning once that it will either sound dull or it will sound high-pitched based on the frequency. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, you imagine, you strike a fork and it's set to a certain frequency. It should sound the same no matter what. But as soon as you're in somebody's field and you have that intention of doing this kind of work, I can strike the fork in somebody's field and suddenly there's hardly any sound. It's like the fork is broken. And you keep striking, and then you can change forks, knowing that now there's this area of dissonance, there's this stuck energy, and that's what's coming up. Or it can come off the puck and it can have this really high-pitched screech. Now, when people have been doing biofield tuning for a long time, it's like a language. So you start to understand the sounds that come off, and it has an emotion. Like when you strike the fork, you can hear sadness. And then you know that there's this part of their life that has that sadness that you're picking up on, and then you're breaking up the charge around it. So what it is as well is when I come into somebody's field, what we do is our thoughts are not contained in our brain. They're sitting outside in our field. So when we live our lives and we're not really living in the present, we're living in the past. We keep thinking, that's what's kind of created who we are in the present. So when somebody says something to us and it triggers us, we have that feeling of abandonment or whatever it is. And all that's happened is somebody's used these words that now is being filtered through this past event. And then it reaches us now, and we think that's happening again. That pulls us way back into the past where that event happened. Now, with biofield tuning, I'll come into your field, pick something up around a certain age when something happened where you felt abandoned. break up that energy that's stuck there, liberate it, and bring it back into the body. Now, I'm not getting rid of the memory. What I'm doing is I'm taking that charge away. We're kind of leaking our life force to that event that happened. And I'm just taking that charge away, that blocked energy, bringing that part of yourself back to you, so that now when somebody says something to you, you're in the present. There's no charge. There's no part of you lost in the past to this event. And when you hear it now, in the present moment, you can deal with it and you can ask qualifying questions. What did you mean when you said that? As opposed to trigger, I can't, and then you have defenses. And that really, to me, that's the core of Biofield Tuning. That's bringing you into the present. That's helping you to create the life you want without these subconscious things happening and this programming that you don't know why. It feels like you're self-sabotaging.
Well, that's why we've talked about it pairing so well with EMDR. Sorry,
Totally.
Carrie, you were going to say something.
The phrase that's coming up for me is like, it's helping bring people back home to themselves.
Yes. Yes. And some people even almost call it a kind of soul retrieval, like I think these shamanic practitioners would do. But it's bringing these bits back to you. I mean, there's been these studies done and these photographs taken, this Curlian photography, I think it is, where they'd have these leaves and they'd poke holes in it and then they'd take a photograph or whatever and they'd see this light being lost from this plant. Well, we're the same. We have these little holes around us where we're leaking and losing our life force from past events. So now you go in, you break that up, you get rid of that charge, you bring it back. Now we have more energy to do what we want to do.
Sure.
And also we want to have high voltage. High voltage means health.
Right.
So that's also part of a biofield tuning is connecting to the earth, connecting to the sun, the negative and the positive terminals that are in a battery, bringing our whole energy levels up so that we can create what we want to.
That's so beautiful.
And can I clarify, Kim? I'm thinking about somebody that has a lot of holes in their leaf that they want to be restored. Do you do sessions where people don't talk at all?
Yes.
Like I could come and receive and not tell you anything about what's happening.
No,
that's
absolutely.
how I usually do it as a client. I don't talk.
Beautiful.
Honestly, sometimes it's very much dependent. Sometimes people process speaking. And that's perfectly fine. And it's great because there can be this rapport where you can just have this conversation because things come up and they need to process by speaking out loud. And it's a safe place to do that.
Sure.
And there is no advice. That's not my job.
Okay.
I'm there just to listen. And just to allow them to, because also I'm witnessing. They've had something happen that maybe somebody has never acknowledged before. So I am there and I'm listening. And then what can also happen, this can also be extremely powerful, is that there are no words spoken. And it's an internal process. And then afterwards, the person can either share or not. We make meaning in our life.
Right.
And if you're somebody who doesn't want to share, which I completely understand, it's no less transformational and powerful.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that.
I would love to see pictures of people before and after a session. I think we should start doing
see it
that.
in people's eyes.
You can, because I even felt it yesterday. I came in so heavy and just tired yesterday, and I left excited and invigorated.
Wow.
And talk a little bit about that, because you said it's not often that people, or sometimes people do come out excited, but
sometimes what tends to happen is that people come in and you can see a dullness in their eyes, and then they leave and their eyes are sparkling and they feel relaxed and all that kind of stuff. And often they will be motivated to go and do some cleaning. It's interesting. It's like you clean up your field and now you need your external cleaned up.
Sure.
With Camila yesterday, it was great because it wasn't so much that, regulation, all of that was helpful, but it brought your excitement up. So I think that there was a clarity that was established and a kind of reconnection to purpose. And maybe that's all about coming into the present so that you could also to have that clarity to actually see, as opposed to being scattered all over the place with loads of things to do. You could zone in and go, okay, I'm excited now. Now I remember what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about that with coming in and just feeling anxious and in fight or flight and just feeling really tired, and then coming out and recognizing, wow, I'm feeling way more grounded, which was my intention for the session. But then we can get into that creativity. We can't access creativity if we're in fight or flight.
Right.
So then I got grounded. I felt calm. I felt happy. And then I could access the things I'm like, zone in on things I am really excited about, and the creativity and passion. And
was there any action that you took yesterday? Or, I mean, not that it has to be, but curious.
Yeah. Kim and I then talked about that excitement. And then I looked into some things about it, did a little bit of research.
Beautiful.
Yeah, got the wheels spinning.
Yeah.
I just had a thought as well. I think that biofield tuning can make us kinder people, because when we're in the stress response, we become very selfish, very self-absorbed.
Sure.
Yeah.
Self-protective, I imagine.
Yes, and also we respond accordingly. When something happens, we don't put ourselves in somebody else's shoes. We immediately go, well, what about me? Am I okay? What can I do? And that makes our world very small. But when we are in a more relaxed state, we become more altruistic. We become more caring about other people.
Yeah. So am I hearing biofield tuning could change the world?
Oh, of course.
Yes.
I mean, that's a big
first.
sweeping statement, but if you think about if all of us were in that state, what good we could do.
Yeah, biofield tuning, all these different modalities have the you know, when we take the time to actually relax and feel safe, that's when we stop being so
biofield tuning,
self-absorbed.
therapy, all these things.
Well, Kim, this has just been a gift of a conversation. Thank you for being here.
Yeah,
and
thank you for inviting me.
Oh my gosh, offering this to the world.
Yeah.
I imagine, I just have to say, I've never heard of another biofield tuner. I have to imagine this is somewhat of a specialty.
It is. It's not. There are a few in Minnesota. A few. Yeah. Nothing. It's
state.
not like, it's in fact, yes.
Yeah.
So
that's
incredible.
A big deal.
Yeah, it's incredible. You offer this virtually to provide more access to people that are in different states that don't offer that, or people that wouldn't be able to come and visit you in person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again. This has been delightful.
We will link ways to contact Kim and all the ways to find her in our show notes. And it's been such a pleasure to have you here. It's been a long time coming, and it's so exciting. I'm sure listeners really loved it and geeked out about it with us.
Thanks for hanging with us on This Is Not Therapy. If you enjoyed today's conversation, come back next time for more real talk, unfiltered moments, and maybe a little bit of laughter. Until then, take care of yourself, and don't forget, this is not therapy.